Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 139 of the Making a Marketer podcast. I'm Megan Powers with Powers of Marketing. The show is brought to you by Powers of Marketing, focusing on strategic content creation, key for today's show, including podcast and event production, hosting, and emceeing. I also want to say I'm dedicating this show to my mom. She got her wings 8 years ago today, but she would want me to rock my obligation and power through and do a really good show, which we're going to do today, along with my co-host, Jen Cole. Hi, Jen.
Oh, well, hello, Megan. How are things going your way today?
Not bad. I'm wearing my, for the audio listeners, I'm wearing my pink San Francisco 49ers hat. We had a pretty epic game on
You
Sunday
did.
against the Eagles, little redemption. So I between that and then my mom, I wanted to like rock the Niners, and then also wear a little pink. So, but I'm really excited for our show today.
Me too. Really, really excited.
I mean, she's been on our wish list for like a really
Forever.
long time,
Yeah.
but it's not like she wouldn't have come on. We just sometimes you just forget to ask.
Yeah.
So that let's be a lesson. If you don't ask, you don't get. Welcome to the stage, Peg Fitzpatrick. Yay!
Hey, I can't
Yay.
believe I was on your wish list. That's nice.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
for
yeah.
for a long while now. So I
Aw.
want to welcome everyone who, if you're watching live, if you're watching the replay or listening on the podcast, thank you for being with us. And if you have any questions for Peg as we go, we will of course bring them up, but also we'll keep an eye on the replays later to see if anybody has anything that they want to ask our pro about how to make your content stand out. All right, but first, I'm going to read Peg's bio. So, Peg Fitzpatrick is a prominent figure in social media marketing and an OG award winning blogger, renowned for her innovative strategies and role as the first head of social strategy for Canva. We love Canva. She co authored the acclaimed book, The Art of Social Media, and has another insightful publication on the horizon. Known for her dynamic presentations, Peg has captivated audiences at leading industry events like Inbound, Alt Summit, and Social Media Marketing World, sharing her expertise in shaping the future of social media and visual marketing. It's all about the visuals these days, right? Although we're
I
going to
want
talk
the
a little
little
bit
text
about
over me, like on TikTok, that says awkwardly listens to bio of
words.
herself and tries to be like, it's always like
So humble.
awkward when you're like, my bio. At least I
But
appreciate. Oh, hi, Sandra. Sandra, I would know that you would love the red lipstick. She is the lipstick queen. Do you guys know Sandra?
no,
I
but
think
Oh, she's
maybe
so.
the
good
best.
too.
You have to
Hi,
follow her on
Sandra.
YouTube
Okay.
and on Instagram. She is amazing. She really is amazing. She was a fine artist, and now in her retirement from fine art, she is a beauty influencer, and she does so. Her
Oh.
videos are amazing. I love her. She's actually like a friend in real life, and I met her at ooh, a conference a million years ago. Gosh, it was probably almost 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was one of the Blog Her, that's what it was, Blog Her. She won a Voices, award for writing. So, anyway, Sandra's amazing.
Amazing. She says, thank you. All right. I love it. And I don't often I don't do a ton to she says 2013, yeah, so 10 years, you guys know.
Wow.
My
Legit.
YouTube
Yeah.
following is very small because I am honest, I haven't done like a ton to try to draw people. But for this one, I was like, you know what? The link I'm gonna share is the YouTube instead of the LinkedIn and just kind of see. And I ended up with a couple of new followers, and I know it's because of Peg.
Oh, well,
So
you know what?
thanks for
It's
that.
nice. The YouTube link shares nicely places too.
Yeah,
Like it plays when you're live. So
yeah,
it's
for
always hard
sure.
to decide what link to share. What link to share?
I know, for
Hmm.
reals. All right, Jen, want to kick us off?
You bet. All right. So we're all about having content stand out today. And you're already doing a beautiful job of standing out with that lovely red lipstick, which is going to look great in our images. But in a digital landscape flooded with content, we know how loud it is out there. What strategies do you find most effective for making marketing content stand out and capturing audience attention, keeping audience attention as well, especially in competitive markets?
Wow. Let me just rattle off a really quick answer. That's a big one. It is important. I mean, it's been important since day one, but things keep changing. I think the one thing in social media and marketing is that it constantly changes.
Yeah.
I think what we see now a lot more than ever before is people just reproducing the same exact thing, especially in TikTok, as I already mentioned. Like,
Yeah.
it's popular there to have a trend and then copy the trend and do the same exact thing, to the point where like preteens have intonations from people on TikTok. Like they've repeated like ticks and things. And so I think with the 2024 word of the year, authenticity, I think the most important thing is that your brand is unique. Don't copy anybody. It's the same. That is in one way not a new thing, because it's always been important to be unique and original. But I think now more than ever, it counts. It really counts because people can mass produce things in a snap these days. It's so easy to make some, I can say crappy, right? That's not a bad word.
Yeah.
To
Sure.
make like really crappy stuff and just copy people's things. I just saw a thread where this one girl, I don't even know who it is behind the account, but it's a girl on the front of it. She copies really popular threads and then just uses the exact text. I just graduated from college, blah, blah, blah. Like I just did this, like things that there's no way she did all these things, but she
Wow.
copies it, the emojis and everything. And people
Oh my
have called her
gosh.
out on it a lot. And I was following her because you have no idea, like, that she's doing that, or whoever's behind the account. And then it's just bizarre that, and then people use that as a strategy. And LinkedIn is another place where it just went crazy. Hi, LinkedIn, if you're watching. It went it went crazy with a certain formatted post with these newer influencers, and they took over how the way LinkedIn was running, and they were making these like text only posts that were kind of long. They had a lot of spaces in them, and and they were like, we're writing every day, and this is like, I get
I
this,
saw that.
social media posts are writing, it is writing, but it's not writing. It's a social media caption, social media description. It's it's not the same thing. As it's hard, and it's not, the shorter they are to make them better, it's even harder. But I don't know. And then LinkedIn came out and said, no, these are the things that we don't want to see anymore. We don't want to just see a selfie with blah blah blah. We don't want to see, like they caught on to like all the, it wasn't authentic. Everybody doesn't do exactly the same thing. So if it's working for somebody, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You can get inspiration around from places, but being unique is the most important thing. So now more than ever, more than a decade into how long we've all been doing this, I mean, you just have to like be original and be creative. A great example for you, Canva. Canva, forever they had their turquoise logo with white, and then they recently like relaunched into this like rainbowy kind of Canva logo, which is really
Yeah.
cool. It's not really rainbow; it's just like turquoise to maybe like
Ombre.
purplish, yeah. But
Yeah.
it's beautiful. And I just saw that they did a little like 12 days. They're only on day 3 or something like that. They did these special social media posts. They're really well branded and really well done. They're doing it like a present, and it was like reintroducing the big things that they launched, like the magic
Yeah.
crate, like all those things. Their posts are really great. So if you go look at them, um, they've just, from the little baby brand that they were when I started working for them, when honestly no one knew who they were. When I was using them originally, it was 100% my secret weapon that I told no one about. And because I could never learn Photoshop. I have learned some of it, but now I don't even bother to use it. So I was using Canva. Canva saw that I was using it on guys' accounts, and they contacted him. So behind the scenes of Canva, they were always well branded because that was part of what they did. But it started out like, I ran the blog, I did the social media, I did the engagement, I did the community management, I did a million things. And like, to see where they are now from that, it's like this growth, like, because it's been a good they just had their 10-year anniversary. So, I mean, it's been like 8 years since I started with them, but it's crazy. So, even as a personal brand or a small business, you can have that evolution and start somewhere. You start with a good brand that's authentic, and you really need to be tight on all the aspects of your brand. It's not, people get confused about a brand just being a color.
Right.
Like my blog color is pink and I do like pink, but like just wearing pink that's not my brand. Like I'm not a person who every time you see me, I'm going to be like, I have pink glasses and pink everything. And you'll know it's me because it's pink. I do like pink and I will wear pink because then I take photos and they look good if I put them on my website, that kind of thing. But that's really not what my brand is. There's a lot more to it. There's the fonts, there's the style of photos that I use. There's all different kinds of pieces that go together. So you need to look at like the bigger part of what makes you authentic. And it's not just a selfie in a format of text that everybody else is using. The originality for that, and you have to test those things a lot. Graphics, of course, are really, really popular, but on my Facebook page, my professional Facebook page, people like text only posts a lot. I do like a daily mantra on there, and people like love them. If I don't do them, people be like, "Oh my gosh!" Like they know I didn't do one, and I tested them with images, and they didn't do as well. They just like that's what they like. They like a daily mantra. They like the same for it. So I do it because that's what people like. So it's kind of just it's testing it. Like if you look at other accounts or what they say to do, like it would probably say do graphics, create a fancy video, or I don't know, dance to it, which is something that I never do, but dance your daily mantra. Do an interpretive dance of a daily mantra.
I mean, it could go viral.
Yeah, it would be funny. Dance. No, not gonna do that. That's one of those things where it's like it just reminds you of those videos that you've all seen where it's like, but like the pointing ones or the text and you still see them and they were popular and maybe they still are popular depending on what you're doing. But I question those things. I mean,
Yeah. I was
you know,
wondering recently, I saw someone doing it and I thought, I feel like she should not be doing this
Same.
now with
Yeah.
how long, plus I don't really, I get kind of tired of like waiting to see like, all right,
in the
what
eight
is
seconds, the
finished?
3 seconds, the 6 seconds, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I
It's
know.
true.
It's just a tactic to make you watch.
Yeah. Yeah, Sandra adores Canva. Yeah, same. And
Mhm.
the thing about Canva too is because you were mentioning originality, and I was like, oh, part of what Canva does though is like have some people using the same formats where you're like, oh,
Right,
that's totally Canva. So
right.
what I love about it is that it gives me a starting point, and then
Yeah.
Mhm.
I can tweak it and move every element that's in that template. I can move it around and make it my own, and
Definitely.
so yes,
And
I do
then
that.
you can do things like instead of just using a Canva template that's already in there, number one, you can use AI to create a template for you right now in
Yeah.
Canva, which is crazy. They're not
Yeah.
100% there with that one yet. They're still working on that one. But I like to go to Creative Market sometimes and just get templates in there, which are not Canva templates, but they're templates that you can use. They're Canva. They're not the same ones that everybody else would be using, but it's a template that you can put into Canva and then just always have your brand kit set up and then you can just change all the stuff in it. So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you can use them as a starting off point for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or you can just start from scratch, which is
Mhm.
Oh,
yeah.
that's hard. Starting from scratch is so hard for me because I'm not a designer. So today I needed to make I'm working on holiday stuff for clients. And so I had to make a happy holidays graphic with the brand colors. I'm like, how am I going to do this? So I wrote into the Magic AI bar. I was like, use this brand kit to make a happy holiday post. And sure enough, I ended up having to go in and tweak a few things, of course. But I was like,
It's a
it
little
just
bit
saved
mind
me
blowing
so
though,
much
isn't it?
overthinking, so
Yeah.
mind-blowing, and it got me out of, like, paralyzation and just creation. It was like, "Here we go."
Overthinking is huge with
Yeah,
designs
yeah,
and not even overthinking, but you can just get stuck. You just like get in there and then you start making things and you're like, oh, look at that other template. Oh, I could change this. And
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
that's where creating your own templates, even if you just create all your own, like you make something from scratch, use your brand kit, just make a couple. Like you don't really, I mean, for a client for like holiday things and stuff like that is one thing, but you can make templates yourself and just reuse them and change the photos and the things in them.
I
It's
mean,
time
how,
saving and it keeps you on brand.
yeah.
Yes,
How do you think we
consistency.
make every single graphic for this show?
Yeah.
The
Right.
background that if you're watching the video, the background and all of our show images and stuff. So, all right,
Right.
I love that you mentioned writing because that's actually my question is when it comes to written content, um, people might have like strayed away a little bit of the importance of still like being a good writer or being I don't know what the key things are to whether it's short form or long form writing. So can you help our listeners maybe talk through what are some key elements or techniques that you think marketers should focus on to see that their written pieces stand out or resonate with their target audience? We know visuals are important, but as you
Mhm.
mentioned, so is the writing. So
Right. So I like to use Grammarly. I don't know if you guys use that, but I like to use it especially for the tone of voice. So it's Grammarly is an app. It also has desktop, all that kind of stuff. And it number one corrects your grammar, which is important. Sometimes you can have a spelling error or a apostrophe error, or God forbid you forget the Oxford comma. If any of those small things, number one, if you have a mistake, it'll be the best post you've ever done because everyone will tell you that you made a mistake on it, which is kind of funny if it's your personal account, but not
yeah,
funny at all when it's a customer account.
right.
Then you're like, oh my God, I have to delete and re-add, which then you've killed your whatever. I mean, that's like, or the really worst is when you have if you have a typo on your Canva graphic, what's it's posted.
Oh, it's the worst.
Have you ever done that?
Oh, yeah.
Me.
I think we all
If you're
almost
watching or
everyone has.
listening, comment and say, yes, I have done that before. And if you haven't, you're lying. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no,
um,
I think
my worst
so.
offense is posting to a wrong account, like posting something
yeah.
personal on a client account or vice
Yep.
versa. It's like,
Oh,
oof,
yeah,
Yep.
I've done that before
yeah,
too.
All right. We've all done it. It's been
yeah,
decades of
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
we're human. So yeah, writing is still important. I like to use Grammarly for I just like to get, how things are in there to look at it before I post it. I mean, I'm not going to do that for every single short post, but if you have Grammarly and then you have the Chrome extension, it corrects everywhere, even in composer boxes on different things. So I do like to use that just to make sure things are as correct as they can be, even though when you do it, there's always a mistake and you have to go fix it. I mean, that's just a
Mhm.
thing. Thank God we can edit everywhere
Yeah.
except for that place, but only
Yeah.
sometimes you can. So I like to use Grammarly. I do use ChatGPT like everybody else in the free world and probably not
Yeah.
free world. It's a great starting off point for things. I think you need to not rely on it for everything, which is probably not what everybody does now. But I like to use it for things like I've created very intricate brand voice for myself and for customers that I use. So it's not just a matter of going in, and it's definitely not Google. So you have to use it very smartly and strategically. I know you guys just had Dustin Stout on. I do love to use his tool. Also Magi.
Magi,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm like, am I saying that right? Yes.
yeah.
So Magi is a great tool for creating your brand kit in there and getting your voice right. But you still have to tweak things because it's not going to be perfect. Um, I like to take a longer piece of writing and put it in and say, this is a great style of writing for blah, blah, blah. Another thing is if you have a post that did really, really well, save the format of it, your own post, and maybe that's like a secret formula for you. When I was
Mm,
on Google Plus, one of the first posts that I ever had that went viral had this one format. And then I just did everything like that forever. And one of the things that I missed the most there is that you could actually format your post with bold and italics. I really
Yeah.
wish Threads, please add that.
right.
It was so great because you could make the thing stand out. And so for the way you format the text, even when you write great things, is really important. The hook always used to be at the bottom, and now putting the hook up front is sometimes really helpful. So play around with those things. One thing that I like to do is to keep um, in Agora Pulse or in Smarter Q, or wherever you're answering your questions. In Agora Pulse, I created a little library of responses for things.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
because you don't want to just say thank you on every single one. Like sometimes people just say thanks for posting that, and then every single time you're coming up with a response that doesn't sound exactly the same, but you want to respond, you don't want, so you can just create a little library for yourselves of things that are really on brand. Just try to like make your life easier that way. Do you guys do that?
Super
Yeah,
smart.
I've done that for clients and myself before.
Yeah,
It's a
it saves
great
time
thing.
and
Yes.
it helps like stay on brand. It's a little bit
Yeah.
less writing that you have to do, just look through, and it does make a big difference. So I try to like get get some things saved to make things easier for responding where I can. And then for longer things, I do like to do it in Grammarly. Sometimes I do get ideas and stuff though from ChatGPT. I have the pro version. Probably everybody has the pro version, but you can save stuff, and then they added in those new like little brand voices, are they called? I forgot what they called those little things. What do they call those
Mm,
things that they
I'm not
put
sure.
in?
Oh gosh. It's not is it personas? No.
It's
Is that
something like a
Magi?
persona. It's something like that,
Yeah.
but they had little like things that you can create like that. So if you're going to use it, make sure that you take the time to like build the things, and you can use it for a starting off point and to check things. And like I said, if you have like certain posts that does really well, you could like use that format and say, using this format, please, my notes app has all that kind of stuff, like formatting that's worked well. Like I wish I didn't use notes so much, but I
I use
do.
it so much too.
I do too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so basic, but it works really well, and it syncs between your computer and your phone
Mhm.
when you're like
Yeah.
going back and forth. So Notes app, I also use Trello, but not for and Notion, but for that like text kind of things, I just always have them in Grammarly or the Notes app, because if you have them in too many places, you forget where it is too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you, let's take one step further back
Yep.
and deciding what kind of content
Mhm.
to post, like whether it's written or visual or both. Like I'm still of the
Almost
camp where I'm
everything
hardly ever just
has
posting text.
Everything has writing, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
almost everything has, I mean, it depends on where you're posting. Pinterest, you 100% can't post without an image. Instagram, regular post, can't post without an image or a video. So even though you need those, the text is still really important.
Mhm.
And the text, whether it's just the text or a text on a graphic or a video, is really important because of the keywords, and it's what helps it be found in search. So the text, while you're being all smart, savvy, with a hook, with a call to action, like it has to have keywords too, like just to make our lives more complicated. So I think going back to the beginning of that is like coming up with in your brand, what are the things that you want to be known for? When people are going to search into Google, what do you want them to find for you? Like, are you Canva? Do you want, then you're using do it yourself design, you're using visual marketing, you're using um I don't know, design app. Like just say those are your three things, which by the way, they still use the first two all the time. And those are things that I came up with when I was there. Like it was like that was the challenge at the time was because everybody knows Canva now. And it seems like, well, of course everybody knows Canva now. But at the time, the thing was, how do we get people to start using graphics and for things? They didn't have video yet. How do you start getting to people to want to use something all the time when they haven't had to? So that was the challenge as a marketer. Like how did I get people to want to do that? And no matter what your product or service is, it's the same thing. So you're starting with that. Like, what is the thing? What do you want people to like for my blog? Like, what do I want them to go there for? And you can't have 20 things because it's too many. It's usually like, three at the very, very most, and then you're just really driving in on that. Um, so if you're going back to your writing, you're thinking, you're going way back to the beginning, because I am a blogger from way back, and I blog
Right.
on the client's blog too, because they're still important. What is it that you want? How are you going to help people? Because Google wants you to be helpful to people in their helpful content update. How are you going to help your customers? What are they going to find from you? So you're answering those questions, and that's kind of the content that you're creating. It's your frequently asked questions. It's what you think people might need to know or want to know, what will help them use your product or service. So I always think about those things to inform like what I'm going to create. Sometimes you're just creating something that's lighter content. If you're near the holidays, you're just going to have a holiday post or something, if those kind of things, or you're just like, you can't just have a hardcore like buy your product post all the time. You sometimes have just more helpful or lighter content. So it's a balance between all of those things. But the most important thing is like, how are you going to help your customers so they're going to buy from you? I think, well, definitely Jay Bear said it, but I was trying to think of his exact quote is create marketing that's so good that people would pay for it. I believe is his exact quote, because you want stuff that's so helpful that people are just going to go back to it again and again. They're going to save it. They're going to share it. They're going to, do all of that stuff with it. Because those are the other things you have to think about besides just what you're writing and what you're creating is like, how are you going to create engaging content that people are going to comment and share, and like the things that give us nightmares.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
All awesome insight. Thanks to Sandra too. I was so focusing on what I was going to ask and listening to Peg that I missed a couple of her recent comments. So thanks so much, Sandra, for that. All right, I think Jen has the next one.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about video, and over the last several years, it's become more and more and more popular. But not every video has the same like formula for success. So can you share some ideas on creating compelling video content that not only engages viewers but also kind of like what we were just talking about, but also converts them into customers?
Right. I think that is what the converting to customers is, where doing a video with your face in it is important depending on who you are. Even
Yeah.
if you're a local small business, we all remember the local commercials where it's like the car dealership guy or the furniture store where it's like the kids of the furniture store and they're like,
Yeah.
"Hi, our dad wants you to come in and try our latest Chevy truck." Like they're just like a thing that you see and you're laughing, but you guys had them too, right?
Oh, sure.
I think
Absolutely.
every market has those, and they connect with you. Like you remember the people, you remember that the kids were on or that the owners were on. It does connect you personally. And I think that's where video, and people are afraid to be on video. That's 100% a thing that people still don't like being in front of the camera, or they're not great with it. So video is important are we talking about mostly for small businesses or for individuals? Like who are we
Well, I don't
marketing
know.
people?
Like, I, I, why don't we niche it down and say for small businesses
Okay,
for
cool.
this,
Because I like small
purpose of
business.
this? Yeah.
So say you're a local small business owner, you're like a local florist, and you want to figure out how you can use video. So then you're just, I mean, gosh, if you were a florist, you would have constant great stuff to do photos and videos and stuff of, but still people would want to see it. So imagine how much more you could sell. You could just share great photos because you could take great photos of flowers, and that would be one thing. But you could also do like show your whole layout of flowers and just do a live of like some of the
Yeah.
best things I've seen have been um, from floral accounts because they're so beautiful. There's this one photo, there was a dahlia farm, I think, and they did like a rainbow of flowers that filled a whole entire truck bed. I mean, it was like the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen at sunset. It was like, wow, that's great content. Like if you
Yeah.
have that, wow, use it. So video, you could show, you're showing your flowers, you're showing like what's coming up, holidays that are coming up, things that you could do. There's just so many ways that you can create things to show what is going on. Like Rent the Runway. They do great videos because they show their outfits. They get trendy and they show um, like outfits. I saw they were doing some cute ones, like if you want to dress like Taylor Swift at Beyonce's movie premiere, we have this, 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 this. They showed all the things. So they're a great account to look at for like ideas. That's one of the things that's fun to do with trends in a video is to take something that's trendy, like you like football, every single girl in America right now, except for you, Megan, because you already know all about it. Everyone else is learning about football because they're all Swifties. So I've seen so many
Yeah.
brands do great content around that. So just think about like what's out there and what's trending. Like you wouldn't really think Rent the Runwell. I mean, they're fashion, so they're showing fashion things, but it was very clever that they did that. Another thing that they were doing, which the videos are really popular, but then in the comments, it's not helping them as much. But they've been showing like how they get stains out and how they do some of their dry cleaning process, but they don't do that for people outside of the like they do that for their clothes. And people are like, tell us how to get the stains out at home, but that's not what they do. And the girl and definitely the social media people don't know how to do that, but the people love seeing it. They're like, we got the stain out, and people so they're like giving people more of it because they like it. Sometimes you have that aspect of when you're a brand, they want to see the same thing from you. And sometimes you just have to kind of go with it if that's what people like and do different spins on it. So the trending things, I mean, another great one, McDonald's. I don't know if you guys remember in the summer they came out with that like grimace shake. Did you remember that
Yeah,
seeing that
yeah.
one? And then it totally flipped and like people went viral on TikTok talking about what they were doing with their grimace shake, and it totally took on a life of its own. That was one of the ones where like you can't make the viral happen; it just happens. Or the
Oh,
or the
yeah.
ocean spray cranberry drink when the guy
Oh
was
my
like
gosh.
he made Fleetwood Mac go viral on TikTok, and all the kids were
Right.
like, "What's Fleetwood Mac?" And he was just
Right.
drinking. He's like drinking cranberry juice, like skateboarding. Which who could do that? I have no idea, but
I don't know, that guy can.
cranberry spilled out all over the place. So sometimes you don't you should never number one with video, don't ever say how can we go viral because you can't ever plan to go viral. You
Right.
just try to make good content and hope that it does well. Trending topics and trending sounds can help a lot. And if you're going to use them, I encourage you, number one, if you're a business, you have to have a commercial business account. So make sure that you are doing that and you're not using sounds that you can't use commercially. If you're buying or if you're selling anything or making anything that you're selling, services or whatever, you do need to have a business account for things. But that being said, you can do trends, but just don't copy all the things, make it fit your brand, like make it
Yeah.
fit your thing somehow. I just did a bunch today. I used some trends, but then I did them all as a spin of like, I'm an author or social media professional. Like I put my lens on it, if you will.
Yeah.
Super smart. Yeah, so the TikTok thing is funny because of things that go viral. I have a friend who works for a company that makes Halloween costumes.
Mm,
And I asked her, I said, what's we figured Barbie was going to be the number one. And she said, no, it was the
Taylor
Scream
Swift.
costume
Oh, really?
because, yeah, because I was like, why? She said, there was, it went viral on TikTok. Like everyone was posting things with it. So that's what they got the most requests for, which I found like super, super interesting.
TikTok's driving a lot of things right now. Book sales
Yeah.
are another thing, and I just saw an article like, is BookTok, the new fast fashion because it's making people buy more books, which is good in a lot of ways, but they're not always good books. I don't know if you've ever been burned by a BookTok suggestion, but I have.
Yeah.
You follow the trend and you're like, that book was not even good. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, actually, so that's a great transition I want to talk a little bit more about short-form video and algorithms because actually I
Mm,
did stumble upon recently a lot of negativity about TikTok changing their algorithm and how like
mm,
it used to be the best algorithm, right? And everyone's trying to chase the algorithms to get the best performance. So as short form video continues to emerge more and more with like YouTube now having shorts and all of the kind of that thing, how can marketers leverage these formats to communicate their brand message well and then connect with a broader audience? And then I guess as part of that, you know keeping up with an algorithm is very challenging, but like
mhm.
what do you suggest?
Crying. I'm just kidding.
Vulnerability.
The reality is you can never keep up with an algorithm because they're constantly changing it. They're constantly changing it. I still think that you have to focus on making the best content you can, reaching your, who you want to reach. Like, especially as a marketer, you're not going to, it's not the same as just trying to chase an algorithm. It's not that easy. Number one, you'll always lose if you're spending all of your time doing that. We all know way back in the beginning of Facebook, when you had 1,000 likes and fans on your page, they saw every single thing you did. Every single
Yeah.
thing. There was
Right.
100% reach all the
Right.
time.
Right.
And then Instagram, then it switched over and Instagram was amazing. Instagram was so great. Everybody saw your stuff. Now we're at zero again, back to, zero reach organically on a lot of stuff. I mean, it's good if you can get 2% engagement on something. Like really, like it's hard to get it. And also it makes you want to cry, like for real, makes
Yeah.
you want to cry. So I think the main things are to not think about the algorithm so much and to still focus on how you can create good branded video that reaches your goals. I think the reaching your goals is more important than the algorithms, and you have to kind of work them. Sandra, for example, she does long YouTube videos, but she also breaks them up into shorts and she shares little pieces of them. So she'll have a bigger, longer YouTube video and she'll share things on Instagram stories and she'll have a shorter Instagram reel. So I think part of it is not necessarily thinking about the algorithm, but like, how can you use your content in the smartest way? And that is to repurpose it as
Yeah.
much as you can in a different way, not exactly the same exact thing, but you have the horizontal video and then you can edit it to make, CapCut is amazing if you're not using it. That's where I like to edit my
What's it called?
CapCut.
CapCut. Okay.
CapCut. It's an app that I've been using for a long time, but now apparently everybody uses it. And they do
Yeah.
have a desktop version. It's really easy to edit, and there's music in there and all kinds of things. It's really easy to use on your phone, even to just cut and change. So, and then, when you're creating your one big thing, you think about, putting it other places, I think one of the main things is to make sure that you're sharing things the way that they like to be shared on the other places. So
Yeah.
YouTube Shorts, obviously you're just making the vertical videos. So then you just think about it a little bit when you're posting each one, like what is the best way to repurpose this? Is this going to work here? Is this not going to work here? The interesting, Sandra said, you think it's easy. I think it's easy what you do, Sandra. It's amazing. She's teasing me because I help her do stuff sometimes, like on the back ends of things. But
Nice.
she really is amazing. It isn't easy. Being good on camera is hard. Coming up with a great video idea is hard. So nothing about video is easy. Editing isn't easy, but it's easier than it used to be.
Yeah.
CapCut is like an easier, it's like a Canva kind of version. It's not like, oh, I'm blanking out on like the big ones that this professional video editors do at no, what is it? What is that called?
Oh
It's
gosh,
like
we
an
were
Adobe product. Premiere.
just
Oh,
talking about that
Premiere.
this morning at
Probably.
work.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
I think it's
think
Premiere. Now they have Rush, Adobe Rush. I do like, and you can edit from horizontal to video in there, which is vertical, I mean.
yeah.
So anyway, going back to like our main premise of this, I think the main thing is to not worry about algorithms to the point and don't ever try to think you're going to go viral, but just try to make the best content. If you're making content for the holidays and you're a beauty blogger, think about the things that are going to be, helpful for people. How to apply red lipstick so it stays on. Like you're just thinking of something like what is helpful, holiday hair ideas, how to create, how to
Mhm.
use your holiday bows like in 5 different ways. Like you see all these different things, and there's a reason that some of these formulas work and they're a product thing. One of the things on TikTok is you see products sell out all the time because they go viral, and it's like how to do things, like how to learn, like learning and doing things. You see the things sell out more. I never saw that on Instagram,
Yeah.
where products would I think the thing that's still there with TikTok is if it's popular and it gets more popular, a lot more people that don't follow you see it, which is one of the ways that their algorithm is still good. This time of year in particular, though, and I did see a couple of things about it at the beginning of, well, before Black Friday, is just like Black Friday till January, there's a lot more advertising money being spent. So if you're not spending money for ads, your stuff is just going to be seen less. And that's hard for small businesses or people that aren't spending money on ads. The other thing is, we don't own any of these platforms. We're like borrowing the audiences there. We're the
Right.
product because we're creating the content. So it's a tough life we have here.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing is if you're going to make video, make sure that it is entertaining, informative, shares your products, and sticks to your goals. Like every video doesn't have to reach all those things, but in some way it is. Like if you're just creating a video and it's like you doing something, is that going to help your brand? Like, is it just brand awareness? That's cool because that is also a thing. Sometimes it
Right.
is just lighter content and sometimes you're selling a product. But
Right.
everyone isn't just like any other marketing post. It's not always going to be just selling your product. Yeah. So it's good to get inspiration on video, ideas for video, but sometimes I just like to watch the train wreck things too. Do you guys like to do that?
Oh, and how? And they
Yeah.
get in the comments.
Did you follow Clancy's Auto Shop?
No, I didn't follow that one.
Okay, so Clancy's Auto Shop, here's a quick video story. So this is literally an auto shop, and the guy that they hired to do their marketing really was not a marketer. He was somebody that came in and was like, I can make you go viral on TikTok and blah, blah. Well, he did. He used a trending audio and trending, like one of those little cutout things that was a meme. He used the Maxwell the cat meme in the brand stuff, and it had nothing at all to do with Clancy's Auto Shop. And then all anybody came back was they just wanted to see the cat. The cat doesn't work there. It has nothing to do, it has nothing to do with their brand. And they had quite a few like truly viral posts. And then Google reviews were being swamped. And the owner was just like, what the heck did you do? That person isn't there anymore. And then a new person started. Their first one they started out was like, help me out. My boss hired me and blah, blah, blah. And everybody thought it was like some 19-year-old kid. And it was like this older, it was just funny. So they did get viral views. But it did not help their brand. Their Google reviews got swamped. Maybe people came in to get their auto body work, but I mean, either you need auto body work in Florida or you don't.
Yeah.
Right. Pat makes a good point. Checking up all those goals that Peg
but
listed.
also didn't follow the rules because they used commercial stuff that they didn't have permission.
Oh, yeah.
Sound and the meme. So
yeah,
there was quite a few things in there that didn't work. They did get millions of views though.
I would love a case study on that. Like,
Oh my
let's
gosh.
circle back.
I actually wrote about it in my
For
book
real.
because I thought it was hysterical. And then I still go back and I talk it. Because I just want to know, is that guy still there? What's going on?
Yeah.
Update.
Did this help them? Because it is interesting. Like, did just
Yeah.
using a trend that has nothing to do with your business. In my head, I'm like, that's not going to help them. And then it didn't. So think about that for your business. Is the video that you're making, is it just entertaining? Are you jumping on a meme trend that has nothing to do with your business? That's not going to help your business in the long run.
No.
Right. Well, I had clients who were like, yeah, shouldn't we be on TikTok? I'm like, no.
Like, what's your why?
It doesn't reach to end goals. Just being on there is not a thing unless it doesn't, participate in what you're trying to accomplish. So, and I just wanted to acknowledge Pat Helmers is another podcaster friend, and he said that's a lot of things to take off. Yeah, of course we're talking pie in the sky here, Pat. We're talking best practices, and if you can get everything working, but I think it's worth saying too, Peg, right? That to just start.
Like, right. I mean, best practices you have, but Video is hard. I mean, video is hard. Like that's just the bottom line of it. And it's not easy. Just like a client saying, "Hey, should we be on TikTok?" And you're like, "No, like what would you be posting all the time? What's the goal?
Right.
What's the plan?" You
Right.
know, it's really hard to make a really good 8-second video, by the way.
Right.
It really is.
Mhm,
Well, and I think that like to use everything that we've been talking about today, it all comes back to like what we just said. What's your why? And then, of course,
mhm,
storytelling. Like that's what we're
mhm,
always talking about is storytelling. We're writing scripts, we're storyboarding things. It's very emphasized in marketing. So, how
mhm,
can brands utilize storytelling across various content
mm.
formats like video, and then, you know, and then take that to like something like Facebook or even digital, and use all of that to create a more memorable and impactful connection with their audience.
I think, having that good origin story, where did your brand start? What was it's different for small businesses. A lot of times it's the owner's passion, which is one of the things that I love about small businesses. Somebody started the bakery downtown because they love cooking, they love baking, they love, or they have a little antique store because it's something that they love. And this is, they lovingly collect all the things and get all the things. And so sometimes the storytelling is like the start of it. Startups also same thing. Their origin story is a lot of it. So really
Mhm.
nailing down like, you know, how you got started, what your story is, and how does that reach people and how does that help them connect with you? Um, I think it helps a lot having that story. And then, you're translating it in different ways. Maybe one day you're sharing, you know, um, like for the brand that I work with, they started the same year that Oreo cookies did. So I use that as a like we started because that's like it's a long time, it's over 100 years, I
Yeah.
use a lot of those things. So sometimes it's a matter of like saying the same little thing, like our company started on this date and blah blah blah, and then expanding it into different ideas that maybe tie in. Like you could even do a Taylor Swift eras, like depending on your brand, like depending
Yeah.
on your brand even eras would be a really great thing to make up your own eras for a brand. Like that would be really relatable if you had an audience that was in that demographic to, say these are our whatever eras.
Yeah.
Um, I follow a lot of book things and some of the big book companies post really great things about like they fit in the trends with like if you liked this, you'll like this. Think
I saw
about
one like
ways
that today.
you did. Was it
Yeah,
was it
it
like
was
a
on
penguin?
TikTok.
Yeah.
It was a book, but it was relating to your Taylor Swift eras, and it was on TikTok. I was like, "Oh my gosh,
Right. I
that's
know it's
really
like
really
taking
creative."
that thing and putting it in. So think
Yeah.
about what your, get your origin story down and then think about how you can translate that into different ways. There's so many different ways to do it. I'm like spinning on the Taylor Swift thing because it's so popular right now. In the summer,
Yeah.
it was all Barbie. Barbie, Barbie. Barbie was
Right.
hysterical. Hi, Barbie.
Yes, Barbie
Yeah.
everywhere.
Everything in there was like amazing. And then, we're in the Taylor Swift, the eras and the football and the like so parts of it I just think are hysterical. Like the wait, good job, Taylor's boyfriend, I think is hysterical. And the men are so like incensed by that it
So
makes it
funny.
even funnier that they're like,
Yeah.
he's been in the Super Bowl. And we're like, but you're Taylor's boyfriend,
Yeah.
it's just funny. Even fandoms are another great example of like how they create their own content and they create their own. Every brand would just any artist would kill to have a following like any of these big, you know, you can't create that kind of really great marketing, but we can hope for it, right? There's not
Right.
that
You
many
sure
brands that
can.
have it.
Right.
Some do. I mean, gosh, probably like I don't know. What brands do you guys follow?
Well, first, I want to acknowledge Giovanna. Thank you. She said, "Love these
Thank you, Giovanna.
suggestions." Thank you so much for being here. Well, I would be remiss. I have to say it in case she's not going to say it. But Jen Cole is a hardcore Kansas City Chiefs fan. So, and she's
Ooh,
also a Swiftie. So the
ooh, she's
emergence
real
of
Nice.
delighted. That's
You're in
wild.
your Kansas City Chiefs era.
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
It
This is the
is.
coolest thing ever.
Have you tried to go to a game because she's going to be there?
No, we've gone to games in the past. Like we usually go to games, but this year all the budget goes to wedding. So
Oh, well, maybe she'll come
maybe
in,
next year.
But wait, isn't there a tie-in? Can't we like get the Swifties to like help
Rally.
out? rally and
Help
get
me
you a
get
little
to a Chiefs
something.
game.
But
Be a
people got
fun
married.
little
There was people that got
getaway.
married at her concert. I don't know what city
Yeah,
that was.
people getting proposed to, like during
Crazy.
Love Story, like it was an actual
Ugh.
trend and people were actually doing it though and meaning it. It's been wild.
Yeah. It's a good year to be a Kansas City fan.
Yeah, although
Not
this
last
week,
week.
not so
Not
much
last
this week. A little
Do you,
aggravating.
do you listen to their podcast?
Yeah, I love the
Yeah, it's
podcast.
so good. They're so
Oh,
good
it's so
together.
good.
Super.
I want to Swifty at it. I want all the times when Jason is like, okay, tell us about he always makes him say all the Swifty stuff. It cracks me up.
Yeah,
It cracks me up.
it's
I
such a
love
good
it
time.
though. I love it
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
But like as a brand, like I don't know, look at the NFL, for example. They've made themselves fools over how much stuff they've posted. And some of the hardcore fans are not happy about it.
No,
But
they've
they've
gotten
gotten
annoyed.
millions of new followers for it.
Yeah.
So
The
I don't
Kelsey
know.
jersey thing, it's funny. I haven't looked at an update for it, but that first week after his jersey sales went up 400% or something.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
That's
Oh,
bananas.
guaranteed their podcast is crushing it. And it's because all the
Yeah.
Swifties are listening.
yeah.
Well, and even they put out that Christmas song the other day,
It
Travis
was
and Jason
so
Kelsey.
good.
Holy cow. That's already one of my favorite songs before this happened.
Mhm.
This is like my favorite year ever, 2023.
It is. What a good year for you.
Yeah, it's been
All your
great.
things coming together. It's
Yeah.
like you manifested it.
I love
Yes.
it.
But
All
see,
right,
as a
so
brand, you can tie into those things. Like you just have to do it in the
Mhm.
right way.
Yeah. Yeah.
for sure, for sure. We could talk to you all day, but we
For
want to
real.
be um, respectful of your time and of our listeners' time. So we have just one final question we like to ask all of our guests. We have changed it this year. I know you would have loved to contribute to the book question too, but we are now asking about a business challenge, one business challenge you've experienced in your career and how you overcame it, or what did you learn from it that might help our listeners?
I think one business challenge I had as a marketer, and it was one of the things that was like a huge goal, was to be a speaker. When I first started out, that was like one of the things was like a lot of people I looked up to were speakers, and it was like you want to get there to be speakers. And so I did work my way up to that level, where you got asked to go to places. But a lot of the marketing conferences don't pay for your travel or don't pay for you to speak.
Right.
So FYI, it costs you money to go and do this. And like my second book that I'm coming out with, one of the publishers was like, how many marketing conferences are you going to speak at to help sell your book? And I'm like, thinking to myself, that's like what, $2,500 a conference, when you
Yeah.
have like travel and time and all that stuff. And so sometimes it's a challenge because you think that you want to do what everybody else is doing, but sometimes you just have to make the smarter choice for yourself. And that was like, I don't say yes to a lot of those because of that, because it's so
Right.
expensive and the time
Yeah.
away from my family. I live in New Hampshire. It's not that close to the airport. Like all these
Right.
things like tie in. And I did it for a lot of years and I loved it. But now I'm like at a point where like, does that really serve me to, I did a couple events this year, but it was not like marketing conferences. One was in Punta Cana. So I was like, okay. And
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
paid. So it's like you just have to decide what works for you and not worry about other things or what it looks like everybody else is doing. Like,
Yeah.
are you successful if you didn't speak here or there? Or, do you have to speak at that same event every year?
Right.
Because you don't.
Yeah,
No.
I think that people lose sight of the fact that, especially as marketers, that actually you might get more business by going to conferences that are not marketer conferences, because at marketer
Yeah.
conferences, while you're helping them, they're not going to hire you because you're
No.
in competition with them, quote unquote, right? So, I mean, not, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like attending, if you can become a marketing voice
Mhm.
in the software industry or in like whatever space, then there's you might get more business
Yeah.
from it that way, or more
Yeah.
sales for your book or whatnot.
So
But
it is just something you have to think about,
yeah,
just because everybody else, it looks like everybody else is doing X. Number one, it doesn't mean they're making money doing it. That's another thing
right.
in marketing.
Right.
And sometimes you do things that don't make you a lot of money for a reason. Like, did you want to go to that place, or will your friends be there,
Yeah.
or, you know, depends. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, but it's kind of like a thought process you have to work through, right? Like, same with, do you have to be on every social platform? That's another,
Right.
like
Right.
those kind of
Right.
things. What works for you? Does TikTok not work for you? Then don't do it.
Right. Yeah, what's the return? What's going to be the best return? And to your point from earlier, testing is an important part of that, and not
Mhm.
feeling like just because you got onto that you have to stay there. And like I would always tell clients, like, you don't have to be everywhere, but you do have to do a good job of where you are.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you're going to abandon Facebook, then take your account down, because then it just looks like you're just not doing. Because
Right.
there
Yeah.
are, even with as many people say as they don't like Facebook anymore, so many people are still spending their time there. Like, it's so
Yeah.
interesting to me how
Yep.
many people like that I went to high school with and family and stuff that are still quite active in there.
I'm
And
gonna sneeze.
I'll go away for a while and come back and I'm like, oh,
I'm gonna sneeze.
What did I miss?
Sorry. Oh no. Oh,
sorry.
I'm gonna
Let's see.
sneeze.
Yeah, you're supposed to look into a light or look away from the light. I can't remember, like,
If
if
I
you want
look
to
at
like
this.
sneeze or not.
Okay, it's gone. I looked at my light.
I just gotta go like this a little.
Awesome. Well, Peg, we can't thank you enough for being with us. And I think the moral of the story with the three of us is that we'll have to have you back,
Sure. For sure.
especially for when your book comes out. Do you have an
Taylor's
idea?
edition.
I know that you just, I think you
Wonderful.
recently changed publishers. So what's
I
your
did.
do you have a published estimate?
It's like September of next year. It's so
Okay.
long.
Oh,
So,
it'll be here before you know it.
Oh, sure.
but obviously you have a ton to share,
Yeah.
and we loved having you on. So
I
we'll have
appreciate it. It was really great talking to you guys.
Likewise.
all right. Thanks so much, Peg, and thanks, Jen, as always.
Always. And thank you, Megan. You're an amazing host.
Oh, thanks, love. All right, friends, this has been episode 139 of the Making a Marketer podcast, and we will catch you next time.